When we think about solar power, our biggest fear is usually not having enough of it, right? But what if you could have the opposite problem? What if your solar panels are actually too powerful for your battery? Is it really possible to have too much of a good thing? This is a question that pops up all the time for anyone building a DIY system. You see a great deal on some extra panels and you think, hey, more is always better. But can all that extra power actually end up hurting your setup? Or does the system just, I don't know, ignore what it can't use? Well, it turns out the answer isn't quite so simple. I'm sure you've heard this one. If you've spent any time at all on solar forums or watching tutorials, someone has told you to oversize your solar array. The logic makes sense. Having that extra wattage helps you get some real power on those gray, overcast days or early in the morning. And hey, that part is totally true. But here's the catch. That rule of thumb is dangerously incomplete. See, the problem is, while oversizing your panels does have benefits, all the common advice focuses on your charge controller, and it completely ignores the most expensive and most sensitive part of your whole setup, your battery. Now, to be fair, most of the tutorials get this first part right. They'll tell you, yep, you can definitely add more panel watts than your charge controller is rated for. A good MPPT controller will just clip the excess power. Basically, it just throws away what it can't handle. But here's the thing, that's only half the story. The real story, the one that matters, starts right where those tutorials usually stop. So what's the real bottleneck? What's the hidden limit in your system? It's almost never the controller. It's the battery. Your battery sets the pace for everything. And if you try to force feed it energy faster than it can take it, you are asking for trouble. Okay, let's start with the basics. Your solar panels, right? They produce power. We measure that in watts. That's the raw energy coming down from the sun. Super straightforward. But here's the crucial detail. Batteries don't really think in watts. They get charged by current, and we measure that in amps. See, your charge controller has to do this little magic trick. It takes the high voltage, low current power from the panels and transforms it into the low voltage, high current power the battery needs. And folks, that high current, that's where things can get dicey. Let's put some real numbers on this so it makes sense. Imagine you've got 1,000 watts of solar panels up on the roof. Your system's a 12-volt system, but when it's actively charging, the voltage is actually a bit higher, say around 14.4 volts. So what happens when we do the math? Power divided by voltage, that's 1,000 watts divided by 14.4 volts, and you get almost 70 amps. That is a ton of current getting pushed into your system. So how much current is too much? Well, every single battery has a speed limit, and it's called the C rate. You can literally think of it as a warning label printed right from the factory that says, hey, don't charge me any faster than this. Pushing past it is like redlining the engine in your car. Sure, you can do it for a little bit, but you're doing damage every second you do. Let's take a super common battery, a 100 amp hour lithium. A lot of these have a max charge rate of 0.5 C. All that means is you take 0.5 and multiply it by the capacity, 100, and you get 50 amps. That's it. That's the absolute do not exceed speed limit for that battery. Okay, so now you see the problem, right? We've got our solar array on a perfect sunny day ready to pump out 69 amps. But we have our battery down here with its hand up saying, whoa, whoa, I can only take 50. So what happens in that moment of conflict? What happens when that unstoppable force meets that immovable object? Well, that extra power has to go somewhere. And what happens next really depends on what kind of battery you're using, because the consequences can be pretty different and pretty bad depending on the chemistry. All right, let's break it down. If you're running old school lead acid batteries, pushing too much current is just destructive. They literally start to boil and cook from the inside out. You get overheating, aggressive gassing, corrosion on the plates. You are physically killing the battery. Now with modern lithium batteries, something else happens. They have a smart little computer inside called a BMS. To protect itself, the BMS will just disconnect. It pulls the plug. But that sudden cutoff sends a voltage spike, a shock wave through your whole system, and that can cause your inverter to freak out and shut down. You get this really unstable on-off cycle. And you know what? It's not even just about the battery. Think about your poor charge controller. When you're forcing it to run at its absolute maximum output for hours and hours, day after day, those internal electronics, the MOSFETs, they get hot, seriously hot. And when electronics get hot, their efficiency plummets, and you're just putting massive wear and tear on them. You're drastically shortening the lifespan of a really expensive, really important component. Okay, that was a lot of doom and gloom. So let's talk about how to do it right. This is where we shift from just following some random rule of thumb we heard online to actually engineering a system that's designed to last. It's about balance, not just brute force power.
I want you to think about your system like a chain. You've got the solar panels, the charge controller, and the battery. They're all links, and we all know a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. It doesn't matter one bit if your panels can make 100 amps if your battery can only handle 50. That 50 amp link is your weak point, and if you stress it, the whole system becomes unstable.
So, what are the right numbers to aim for? Here are some really solid guidelines. For lead acid, you actually want to keep that charge current pretty gentle, somewhere between 10 to 30% of its capacity. That's the sweet spot for a long life. For lithium, like Live PO4, it's often higher, maybe around that 0.5 C mark we talked about. But, and this is the most important part, you have to check the spec sheet from the manufacturer. That's your Bible. That is the final word. So let's wrap this all up. What's the new wisdom here? What should you take away? First, you have to know your battery's C rate. It's not optional. Second, you design your solar array to respect that limit. And third, you make sure all the pieces, panels, controller, and battery are working together in harmony. A balanced system is a reliable system. It's all about prioritizing the health and longevity of your system over chasing some crazy peak watt number. And that really brings us to the final question you should ask yourself about your own system, or the one you're planning. Is it designed just for peak watts on a perfect sunny afternoon? Or is it engineered for the long haul, for reliability, for safety, and for a long, healthy life? Because believe me, the answer to that question will be the difference between a system that lasts a couple of years and one that powers your life for decades.